Hey everyone, welcome to Fun Fact Friday. I am a huge nerd and my poor husband has to listen to me ramble on and on about things that I find interesting. And so I decided to make Fridays like specific days where I get to nerd out so that I leave him a little bit alone and so that I can use the rest of the week to research new things because I'm such a nerd and I find this all interesting. So today's Fun Fact Friday, we're going to be talking about ruminants. I think that ruminants are pretty cool. We had a lot of experiences growing up where our steers or sheep bloated and we got to take care of them and fix the problem. So it was really cool for me to grow up learning about their digestive systems and how much different they are from our digestive systems. And I'm not an artist, but I like to pretend that I am. So I made a few rough illustrations to help out with my Fun Fact Friday. So, fun fact, ruminants have 4 stomachs, or 4 chambers in their stomach. Ruminants are animals such as cows, sheep, camels. I discovered are ruminants and I did not know that before. So the typical ruminant stomach looks like this. So start out with, I'm like so backwards right now. So it's over here. Let's pretend that the animal's head is over here. And this is their esophagus. The first step is the rumen. Goes into the reticulum and then through the omasum and then the abomasum and then obviously exit out the tail end over here through the intestines. Sorry if that was confusing. This was backwards, but you got it. So the first one, I'm going to talk about the rumen. The rumen is the first step. So kind of hard to see. I had to recycle them. I did little church illustrations previously that I messed up on, so recycling, it's great, right? So sorry if you see that in the background. But the inside of the rumen, it looks kind of spiky almost. We have a hedgehog, and it's really cool because our hedgehog, the inside of the rumen I discovered this week looks a lot like our hedgehog. And so it looks kind of like a rug. It's just like really like rough. And so the rumen receives food from the esophagus and it sends food back up. So ruminants chew their cud. If you see a cow or a sheep, just like that's them chewing their cud. And this happens from the rumen. It sends back up so that they can send it back down again. It partly digests the food, not very much, and it sends it into the reticulum. The reticulum is my favorite. I know it's weird to have like a favorite compartment, but I find the reticulum like so fascinating. It is a honeycomb structure. Again, very rough illustrations, but honeycomb structure. And you will find if you if you dissect the 4 particles, which I got to do in college and it was way cool, you can find pieces of corn still in there because corn doesn't really digest. We all know that we've seen it on our own poop. So you can find it in the reticulum. And also, so the reticulum, known as like hardware disease, cows, I know most about cows, so that's why I keep referring to them, but this really applies to all ruminants. They eat a lot of things in the pasture. They pick up screws, wires, bolts, washers. Rough illustration here of screws, wires, washers. And so to protect itself, I guess, it's sent into the reticulum. That's where all of this is going to be collected. And so it collects smaller particles from the rumen and sends them to the omasum. So the smaller stuff of what's getting digested through gets sent straight to the omasum. The larger particles that need further digestion stay in there. Obviously corn needs further digestion. screws, washers, wires. That stuff isn't going to be digested, so it just kind of hangs out in there. It collects foreign objects, all of those things. They stay in the reticulum. Some ranchers give animals magnets. My cute little magnet right there. And when they swallow the magnet, it is treated like a foreign object, obviously, and it settles into the reticulum, and it pulls in all of the hardware from the reticulum in there. The reason why this is so important that a lot of ranchers decide to do is because if any of these things, luckily the reticulum wall is pretty thick. I wish that I had the resources to be able to dissect and do a video that way, because that would be really cool, and you would learn it a lot better. Google this and find a cool video where they actually dissect it. It's so interesting. But they can puncture that wall. It takes a lot, but it really could. It could puncture that wall. And so the magnet keeps it closer into the middle so that those particles don't puncture the wall. And why that is so important is, let's see, I have to get my bearings here. So the head of the animal would be on this side of the illustration. And the heart is going to be here in this area. Heart, lungs, and whatnot would be in this area. Probably up a little bit further, but the reticulum is very close to the heart. And so if a nail, let's say, or a screw happened to puncture the reticulum, it could very well puncture the heart, and that would be a really bad thing. And so it's super important that those kinds of things are taken care of, and that you make sure that, like, clean up the fields, make sure things aren't there. But I mean, they're cows, they're gonna find this stuff. So the next chamber of the stomach, the next compartment, is called the omasum. The omasum is also very, very cool because it is called the butcher's Bible, is what a lot of people call it, the butcher's Bible. And the reason for this is because there are folds on the wall. So this is, again, very crude, rough drawing, but these folds, let's pretend that you could grab this line and, like, do this with it, and it's like a book. And so these could fold this way over like that. And this is a different drawing of looking at it, like, from above. So, or to the side, however you want to say that. But this is the outer wall. This would be the outer wall, and so this is what they're like. You can flip them like this, and so things go in it. And so obviously when a little calf is still drinking milk, the digestive system is much simpler because the milk is just like through that stomach. It goes through all of the different compartments with ease. It's whenever they're older, they're starting to digest grain and grass and all these things that their digestive system works harder. And so essentially the only thing that the omasum does is continues to digest the particles. It removes more liquid. A lot of the reason why these little pages is what they're called is there is separating liquid. It collects a lot of water, which I thought was really cool. The last compartment of the ruminant animal stomach is called the omasum. The omasum is known as the true stomach. So this is where the true digestive function is happening. This is where most of the digestive system is happening. The system, that's not what I meant. But this is where all of the digestion is happening. It is the final compartment. The inside of this compartment is, it's like wrinkly. It's really cool. It's very, again, I'm not an artist. I wish I was. I love to draw, but I'm not good. But it's wrinkly. So this kind of looks like a web a little bit. It's just like really wrinkly in there. So imagine little wrinkles. And sorry sis, I'll call you back later. Yeah, then after it is digested through this, it is sent out into the intestines, and we go back to the intestines, and then we all know what happens after that. So I hope you enjoyed. I don't know if you would find the digestive system quite as fascinating as I do. I think that it is so cool and I love learning about it. And so stay tuned for next Friday to see what next Fun Fact Friday is going to be. Happy Friday, everyone!